Okay, this is a Folsom Winter Criterium P12 race. I'd already raced a 2-3. This one, big hitters. Mike's Bikes was there. Frankly, I still get intimidated. Like, they're fast.
They're fast, but you know you can hang with them now, right?
Sorta. Could hang with them. So at the beginning of the race, the previous 50 minutes, I was just trying to conserve energy. And I've been kind of in the back of the field surfing wheels, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's kind of ideal. I think what we can do is we can break this race down into more or less the last 5 laps and what not to do. Kind of why that half draft is
what
important.
What not to do. Awesome.
Hey, that's how we learn. And then how far forward you should actually be in a sprint like this.
Yeah, too. You told me ahead of time. You said Mike's is going to keep it together, and they did. They totally worked hard to keep it together.
Yeah, they were really prevalent in all the breaks that were up the road, and they actually pushed the pace a little bit, but what that really did is that kept the pace high for the whole thing, and it actually made them have to do a little less work at the end. You can see them attacking right now. I mean, they didn't just sit and wait for the end here.
Yeah, they had a lot of options.
Right. Well, and you know when they're racing for a sprint like this that they're going to have a well-orchestrated lead out too, so that will always be something you can anticipate when a team's racing like that.
In fact, it's spoiler alert, we find you right next to their Leadout at some point.
So this good position right here?
Yeah, I think you're doing a wonderful job. I was going to say this is about where I have it ticked at 55 minutes in is the last time you did all the right things. One of the things you're doing really well is you're letting that elastic stretch in front of you, and this is exactly where I would hang out. It's a little more hectic and a little more, you have to pay attention to more things, but man, it's an easy ride.
Yeah.
And so letting these people fill out on this, like sprinting out of the turn 1, you're still in a great place. But now you get kind of worried, I think, about how far back you are with only 2 laps to go, or 3 laps to go. And you start to kind of move up on the harder side.
Yeah, on the outside?
Yeah. That's one where you're right behind 2 Mike's Bikes riders. This is the perfect place to be. This is exactly the lead out you want to see. That's the sprinter that you know is going to sprint.
I should have stayed right there.
And
what am I doing?
You just pass them, and you're doing 500 watts on the strong side.
What? Who is this guy? He's so dumb. I know that, too. I know who that guy is. Matt Chat.
Yeah, he won the race, right?
Yeah, and I know he was going to win the race, too.
Yeah.
That is exactly the wheel I should be on.
So you made a little bit of an effort, and that's not much. I mean, it's not a huge effort for you, but still, it's something that you didn't have to do. And there's still riders in front of you, but you're still kind of fighting that outside line where you're just putting out more energy, where if you were tucked in, even if you were lined up 6 inches to the left of the rider in front of you, you do get that little bit of shelter over and over. But now we're putting out real power because it's 2 laps to go.
Yeah, it's acceleration. So now I'm kind of like, well, this is way far back, especially if it's strung out. If I would have thought like the Mike's Bikes guys are back there, that would have been the wheel to follow
I
for
bet
sure.
they'll make it up there.
I bet they will, right?
Right. Yep.
And there he goes right there. He's, I think you can see the train coming to my rear camera. They're coming up on the right side.
And they took the easy way, right? So they didn't do any work. They just rolled. We all slowed down at that section with coming through here. And again, you have to reaccelerate really hard just to stay in the draft.
Yeah.
Amber, what do you think about how far forward he is right now?
I think when you know that the sprinter, you know that there's going to be a lead out for a sprinter, and it's the Mike's Bikes train, you want to be where they are.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so you have some strong guys, you have some organized teams in front of you, but here you go again, and instead of sitting behind them, you pass everybody.
It fanned out, and then I'm like, uh-oh.
And
this is pretty far forward.
It's pretty far forward. And so that's one of the things, especially on this long sprint like this. You've raced it before. You realized how kind of late you had to leave your sprint.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't choose to be second wheel with going through the bell or going through 2 laps to go right here. It is a safe space, but you could look behind you and see that there's a teammate, and kind of see. You want to be the end of the single file. You want to be in that bowl, but the end of the single file off the front.
Right, because even though you're in the draft right here, if you're only drafting 1 rider, you're not getting as good a draft as you would if you were 5 riders back.
I thought instantly, I'm like, well, you were too far forward, but I didn't know how to move back without getting swarmed or losing all position and being at the very end. So what do I do?
Yeah, this is a hard one. I would pull out. I would actually accelerate to the left of the rider in front of you and pull out, or actually stay inside if you can, and on the sheltered side, pull in front of him and look back and see if you can kind of just drift back 5 wheels, but know you're going to have to do another hard acceleration to kind of stay on the tail end of that front rider. It's long enough. There's still 90 seconds left in the race, so you can still give yourself 5 seconds of easy pedaling to get back in position.
It's crazy. We have like a gap on the guy behind. I don't understand why.
You guys were going hard, I think. Well, 27.
Well, watch right here, because the pace is really high, and then you're going to see, it's not quite yet, but we'll see the Mike Spikes guys jump with the train after, jumping from high speed.
I shouldn't have covered that. That was my other big mistake.
Exactly. Everyone else here is putting down these attacks that are not very well organized, so it's keeping the pace high, which is good for the lead-out train. But again, you're one of the people that are doing the work. That they're sitting back and just saying, this is perfect. Everybody's doing the work that we now don't need to do.
Let's rewind to that.
Yeah, let's rewind and see where Nate made his next mistake. So here we are. You're on the TrainerRoad rider's wheel, and then one of their teammates attacks. And you have a hugely strong team who's about to lead out their sprinter, but you shut down this gap.
I'm like, I'm the one who's going to cover it for everybody. That was so dumb.
Yeah, but you can feel the pressure behind you, and it doesn't feel like that much work to just do 10 seconds to get on the wheel in front of you, right?
Exactly. I don't want to get swarmed.
Yeah.
I've been swarmed before at the end of a race, and especially in these P12s, I feel like then I end up as 25th wheel. There's 70 people in this race.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be at the front of the swarm. You want to be with the swarm that's moving forward and not the person being swarmed, which is why it can be really helpful in a bunch sprint like this to be a little bit patient.
Okay, so now let's go to, let's just focus on the last lap, because I think that's where the real excitement comes, and you can see the nuclear bombs that I get attacked with. Okay, we're crossing the start-finish. It's 1 lap to go. I'm still thinking Mike Spikes is going to go, but I'm just going to jump on the end of their train. I've have like a good 20-second power kind of attack, and if I get anyone in the top 10, I'll be really happy.
Yeah, and so you're still feeling the speed is high, but now is when real lead-outs happen.
Yep, and we should have been right here.
Yep.
And you can see Mike Spikes. There they go, with actually a Lux guy in second place. He's probably too far forward, too. And I try my hardest, and I have no power. I don't know what it is, and I just keep falling back, and I can't get in the draft.
Yeah, and that's kind of, there's 2 things that are happening. You don't have enough power to force yourself into the line, but then they slow down. And so this is one where you could have just sheltered yourself and really forced your way in, knowing that they're going to re-accelerate right now.
Yeah.
You're almost there.
Right there is when I lost it. And if I could have grabbed that Lux guy's wheel, I would have been coming in, because that was a lead out, so I would have come in third place into the turn, which would have been awesome. But instead, because I was moving so fast backwards, I thought this is dangerous, and I just pulled over.
Yeah.
But looking at my power, it's frustrating because I was doing 600 watts, and I didn't do a lot over the earlier. We should probably look at the power file. Okay, so here's the power file, and we, 27.7 miles per hour we averaged, which was nice. My normalized power for the whole thing was 246, but if you look at the first 53 minutes, normalized power 220, my average power was only 197, and we averaged pretty close to 28.
Yeah, seems like you were doing it right.
Yeah, so that's an important part that I think people don't realize is you want to put out the least amount of power, right?
Yeah.
Until it matters.
Yeah, that you win by doing the least amount of pedaling.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah, we used to do at training camp. We used to have little contests. We'd organize mock races, but the contest was not only to see who could win, but who could have the lowest average power, because that's means that you're racing really smart and really making efficient use of the draft. That's
awesome. That's so cool. If we zoom in right here to the very end of the race, and this is when Mike started to light it up. I still did, 470 for a minute 30 before I gave up, it's a lot, but I think I can do more than that.
Yeah.
And my spikes too, if you look here, this was at 732 for 8 seconds. This kind of killed me. If you look at the previous videos, what I did, almost 900 for 20 or something, and then did some more. I was
much higher.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And one problem that I did as doing 2 races, there was only an hour in between. I skipped my lunch, and I didn't have any bottles on my bike for either race. So dumb. Amber, do you think I would have done maybe be able to put more power if I would have actually eaten something during the day?
Yeah, I think all of those little mistakes start adding up over time. That's for sure. And I think first of all, just making sure that you're fueled appropriately, and then making efficient use of the fuel that you do have, right? So those are two sides of the same coin, and I think you were making mistakes on both sides of those today, especially in this race.
When you raced in crits pro, would you taken any calories in during the race?
I would try. It's really hard to, because especially if it's a technical course, sometimes it's hard to get your hands off the bars, but I would at least try to take a gel, and I would definitely preload. So I would preload with hydration and preload with carbohydrate before the race, so that if things got wild and I didn't get a chance to take on calories, I would at least have that preloaded fuel to go off from.
But this thing, I think you could have.
I think you could
this
have
race
eaten.
I could have eaten a lot.
Yeah, definitely, especially in that section. I mean, and this is not a technical course, right? So it's when you're sitting back there tailgunning, that's a great time. We called that sitting in the office. It's a great time to take in some food. Just eat, drink, and be merry back there.
Okay, I'm going to have a bottle every time now in the future, just to have the option where if I can't drink, I will drink. Thank you two so much. I've learned a lot.
You're getting better every time.
I got to unlock this puzzle. I'm not there. Oh yeah, we put a fun puzzle to figure out. Okay, thanks guys.
Nice job, Nate.
Nice job, Nate. It's fun figuring this out with you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
If you want to learn how to be a faster cyclist, do a few things. First, check out TrainerRoad.com. Check out Ask a Cycling Coach podcast, and it's on YouTube. And go to forum.trainerroad.com to have discussions with other high-level and low-level cyclists trying to improve themselves and become a faster cyclist.
Some really good stuff in there.
Very good.
The best.
Yeah.